Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nazubaidah binti Abdul Rahman. My meeting number is 255959. Okay, today I will present about intro and general principle of the stamp duty. Okay, firstly, intro. In Malaysia, stamp duty is a tax levied on a variety of written instruments specified in the first schedule of Stamp Duty Act 1949. In general terms, stamp duty will be imposed to legal, commercial and financial instruments. Okay, next, example of instruments subjected to stamp duty. Okay, the example of instrument subjected to stamp duty is real property transfer, share transfer, and rental or lease. Okay, next I will show you the stamp duty payment. We can pay the stamp duty in three methods. First, cash. You can pay the stamp duty in cash if the stamp duty does not exceed 100 ringgit, and second is revenue stamp if duty does not exceed 500 ringgit. Third, money order, solicitors check or bank draft made payable to collector of stamp duty and sent together with the relevant instrument to the stamp duty office by hand or through digital post. So if you stamp duty no exit not exit 500 ringgit, you have to use third method to pay the stamp duty. Okay, next is general principle. For the general principle, there are three items for general principle. First is comparison with market value. Second is instrument chargeable with duty, and third is assessment. Okay, for the first is comparison with the sale of any property under item 32A. First schedule required the imposition of stamp duty to be based on either. So, this comparison with market value, you have to choose whichever is greater than value of consideration or market value of property. So, you have to choose either these two, whichever is greater, to be the comparison with this method of the comparison with value, with market value. Okay, next is instrument chargeable with duty. Instrument chargeable with duty is imposition of stamp duty is based on instrument or document executed by parties involved, never charge open transaction. So this instrument chargeable with duty is relate with section 4. In the section 4 of Stamp Duty Act 1949, in section 4.1, subject to this act and subject to the exemption contained in this act, and in any written law for the time being enforced, the several instruments specific in the first schedule shall from and after the commencement of this acts be chargeable with the several duties specific in such schedule. Stamp duty imposed is provided in first schedule of the Stamp Duty Act in 1949. Okay, that's all from me.
Good day everyone, my name is Anish Hussain with my number 253729, and I'll be presenting regarding to assessment. So assessment is the act or operation of the collector of stamp duties in ascertaining whether an instrument is liable to duty or not. So if it is liable, the rate will be determined in accordance to the first schedule of the act. So after that, the stamp duty will be assessed and computed. So if, let's say, the duty has been determined, the collector cannot revoke the assessment and claim that it is actually being wrongly assessed. So now let us look into the example. So in this example, Ali is actually the managing director of Chomel Sendirian Berhad since 2000. Upon his retirement on 24th December 2019, the company disposes a bungalow at a price of 3.9 million. So we are asked to compute the stamp duty required to be paid and the amount of bank guarantee required by the IRB. So firstly, in order for us to calculate the amount of bank guarantee, it is actually by using the formula A minus B. So what is A? A is actually the duty chargeable on such instrument based on value of the landed property by using the formula Y times 100 divided by 65. So what is actually this Y? Y is the market value of such property submitted by taxpayer. So in this question, the Y is 3.9 million. So B is actually the amount of stamp duty chargeable. So it's this one, stamp duty required to be paid. So first, we calculate the A first. So how do we calculate A? By using 3.9 million times with 100 divided by 65, and then you get 6 million. As for B is 3.9 million. So for the stamp duty, for the first 100,000, it is being charged at 1%. The next 400,000 is at 2%. Next 500,000 is at 3%, and the excess amount will be charged at 4%. So this is applied for the A and also B. So at last, we calculated A, the amount will be 224,000, as for B is 140,000. So how do we calculate this bank guarantee? By taking 224,000 minus 140,000, and you will be getting 84,000. So the stamp duty is 140,000, as for bank guarantee, it is 84,000. So that's all from me, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ng Wen Jing and my metric number is 252834. Now I would like to continue the presentation with instrument not duly stamped. So there are types of duty and section Stamp Act 1949. So there are two types of duty. There are fixed duty and ad valorem duty. Ad valorem duty is the rate of duty varies according to the nature of the instrument and the considerations stipulated in the instrument or the market of the property. The imposition of ad valorem duty, which is according to the value, it's on instrument of transfer, implementing a sales or gift of a property, including marketable securities, share of other companies, and of non-tangible property. Ad valorem duty also imposed on instrument creating interest in property. Next is instrument of securities for monies, including instrument creating contracts for payments of money or obligation of payments of money. And the last one is certain capital market instrument which impose in ad valorem duty. So let us have a look at the example. Disposal of landed property. The rate of ad valorem duty will be charged on the transfer of instrument. At the first 100,000 will be charged at 1%, and within 100,001 to 500,000 will be charged at 2%, and within 500,001 to 1 million will be charged at 3%, and in excess of 1 million will be charged at 4%. So this is the example given. Ed Ahmad disposed a residential house in Bangsa to City for 1.5 million on 14th February 2019. This is the calculation for stamp duty payable to the stamp office. At the first 100,000 will be charged at 1%, which is 1,000, and the next 400,000 will charge at 2%, and we will get 8,000. And the next 500,000 will charge at 3%, we will get 15,000. And the next 500% we will charge at 4%, and we will get 20,000. So we total up the number and we will get 44,000, which is the stamp duty payable to the stamp office. So the next one is fixed duty. Fixed duty is the duty that imposed without any relationship to the consideration paid or amount stated in the instrument. The imposition of fixed duty is on a number of other legal, commercial, mercantile, or capital market instruments. Fixed duty also imposed on a duplicate or a subsidiary or a collateral instrument when it can be shown that the original or the principal or primary instrument has been duly stamped. So this is the example. Bank Kemajuan Berhad issue a checkbook to a new customer who just opened a current account. The stamp duty for each check issued by the bank is 15 cents, as specified in item 29, first schedule of Stamp Act. So the 15 cents is the fixed duty in this condition. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Nadia Atira binti Abdul Razak, metric number 252660. So I would like to continue the presentation with stamp based on Section 51 Stamp Act 1949. So as my friends explained just now, the example of instruments that subjected to stamp duty is real properties transfer, share transfer, and rental or lease. So I would like to highlight what is the purpose of stamp duty. So it is actually to provide protection to those who sign the agreement. This is because the document will only be acceptable by the court if the document or the instrument have been stamped. So now let's continue with Section 51 Stamp Act 1949. Subsection 1 state that every person having by law or consent of parties authority to receive evidence, and every person in charge of a public office, except an officer of police, before whom any instruments chargeable in his opinion with duty is produced or comes in the performance of his functions, shall, if it appears to him that such instruments is not duly stamped, impound the same. Basically, it means that every person in charge must receive any instrument or document as evidence whether it is being stamped or not being stamped. So continue with Section 51 subsection 2, which is actually almost the same as the Section 51 subsection 1, except that this section state that any duty of examining and impounding any instrument shall be performed by the registrar. And any instrument which is not being stamped, the document holder or the instrument holder shall be penalized for not getting it done beforehand. And lastly, it is also stated that if the document or the instrument is not being stamped, it doesn't mean it is invalid as evidence. It's just that the instrument holder shall be penalized. I will pass this presentation to my friends.
Instrument not duly stamped inadmissible in evidence. So what does this mean? So it is an unstamped or insufficiently stamped instrument is not admissible as evidence in court of law, nor will be acted upon by a public officer. So in another word, it means that if the instrument is not properly stamped, it cannot be used in a court as evidence. So it is being explained detailedly as Act in Section 52 Stamp Act 1949. So you guys can have a look in this. So that's all from me. Thank you. I'll pass it to my friend.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nofalida Izati binti Muhammad Kamal. My mention number is 255685 and now I will continue our presentation with relief under section 15 and section 15A. For the relief under section 15, it is an instrument that made in relation to corporate restructuring scheme, such as for reconstruction or amalgamation companies. Amalgamation companies is a combination of two or more companies into a new entities. So in order to claim the relief under section 15, there are a few conditions that is applicable, such as if the company is a new company, it should have been incorporated in Malaysia. But if it is an existing Malaysian company, it should have increased on its share capital, which is a transfer company. A transfer company is to be registered in Malaysia or has been incorporated in Malaysia or has increased its capital with a view to the acquisition either by undertaking of particular of existing company or had issued share capital not less than 90% of any particular existing company. In the event of undertaking which is to be acquired and shares to be acquired, in the consideration is at least 90% of the share issued in the transfer company to the existing company. Relief under section 15 can be withdrawn if the claim of the exemption is based on untrue particular, the existing company ceased to be beneficial owner of the share in the transfer company within 3 years, otherwise in consequence of reconstruction, amalgamation, liquidation, or in compliance with government policy on capital participation. And the last one, is if the transferee company ceases to be beneficial owner of the shares in the existing companies within 3 years. Every company should notify the stamp duty office within 30 days from the occurrence of the non-compliance. Now we will move to the section 15A. The relief under section 15A is the relief from stamp duty in case of transfer of property between associated companies. Associated companies is a companies that the subsidiaries must be at least 90% owned by the holding company, and the ownership can be direct or indirect through other company. Same as relief under section 15. In relief section 15A also have a few conditions need to be fulfilled. The first one is the effect of the transfer of beneficial interest in a landed property is within associated companies of the group. Second, the transfer of the property is to achieve greater efficiency in operation. Third, the transfer company should be a Malaysian company. Fourth, the consideration or part consideration for the transfer must be not financed by the third party, which company outside the group. Next, the beneficial interest of the said property shall not have been previously transferred directly or indirectly by non-associated company. The two companies remain to be associated companies within 3 years from the date of transfer, which means if the two companies are not being an associated companies for 3 years, then we can say that it not fulfill the conditions and cannot claim the relief under section 15A. And the last condition is the transferee company need to retain the property it has acquired within 3 years from the date of the transfer. Okay, relief under section 15A can be withdrawn if any of the conditions that I have said before is being violated, and the company should inform the stamp duty office within 30 days from the date of occurrence. Okay, now we will move to the penalties. An instrument should be stamped within 30 days of its execution if it is executed within Malaysia. But if it is executed outside Malaysia, then it should be stamped within 30 days after it has been first received in Malaysia. The penalties is depend on the duration. The longer the duration, the higher the penalty will be. If the duration is within 3 months after the stamping, then the penalty charge will be 25 ringgit or 5% of the deficient duty, whichever is greater. And if the duration is after 3 months, but it is not later than 6 months after the time of stamping, then the penalty will be 50 ringgit Malaysia or 10% of the deficient duty, whichever is greater. And if the duration is after 6 months after the time of stamping, then the penalty charge will be 100 ringgit or 20% of the deficient duty, whichever is greater. That's all for me. Thank you.